Hello again, this is Moroni Prime with another video review. This is going to break away from the normal a little bit. Typically I consider myself a Transformer fan and not really much else, but there's a select few different franchises and properties that have always kind of held my interest even a little bit, and one I'm glad to see brought back was the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I don't know if Bandai and Saban or Disney ran out of ideas on how to keep the franchise alive and keep bringing the Sentai over, or if they're cashing in on the nostalgia as has been seen through the Transformers and now G.I. Joe movies, and pretty much anything 80s and early 90s, as that's been the popular thing as of late. So it's really hard to tell what the reasoning is, but all the same, it's a welcome return. And I'm glad to see these new figures. The first of which I'm going to review will be the Red Ranger. As you remember, the original Red Ranger was Jason, or later on, oh wow, that was planned. That later on he was Rocky that held that role. This figure is roughly in scale with, well, pretty much nothing that I have. There's really no good comparison. It's either too big or too small, but to give you a rough idea of the size anyhow, here is the Walmart exclusive Classics Bumblebee from the Legacy of Bumblebee 3-pack, as well as, oh, I don't know, what's a good example? Well, let's see, how about Robot Heroes Blitzwing? Let's bring him into the picture there without killing him. That gives you a rough idea of about how big he is. Keep in mind he's standing on this doodad here. Now I gotta kill him, Blitzwing again. Poor guy. Okay, there he is standing on both feet without the assistance of this figure stand. This here, let me take these other two away right quick. This here has to be probably the weirdest accessory I've seen in many years. It has no bearing, as far as I can remember, on the original story, comic, or toy from years back. It's a new edition. I don't know if they're going to give any sort of explanation or just throw it in as a accessory just for the sake of throwing it in. But what it is, it's a bird-themed jetpack battle gear, I guess. Has a light that's activated by this diamond-shaped button here. It's a red LED. Probably shows up as white on the screen. I can't really tell depending on your monitors. And what it has these claws that can detach. And how this works as kind of a battle mode is you have this knob, has a little nub at the top of it, so it can only go on in one direction. It attaches on the back here, where you have a hole just in between the backs of the diamonds here. Again, you have that hole with the nub at the top. And it goes on as kind of a flight pack, while these claws here, they go on to the feet. Not really sure what purpose they have besides to scratch the enemy. I guess it's effective. These accessories are also reversible. What I mean by that is you can, using these tabs here, stand Red Ranger on the flight pack, kind of reminiscent of the old Galaxy gliders. That's the only thing that comes to mind that would be comparable to these. I'm sure there was probably other similar accessories in later incarnations of the Power Rangers that I, well, didn't care to watch. I put that all backwards, but you get the idea. He can kind of scratch and claw his way through Rita and Zed's forces. Yeah. That's pretty much all there is to this accessory. But one thing I did notice, and I do kind of like this, is the fact that it's really bottom heavy. So you can combine these right quick. And because of its weight, it's able to keep its position without letting the Ranger fall over, so you can do some pretty radical poses, all sorts of different ways. and not worry too much about the figure falling over. I guess it does have its limitations, but overall, it's not bad. I mean, that's the bulk of the Ranger that's supporting off-center here. But it is kind of nice. It allows for some neat posability without having to worry about the figure falling off of the shelf. Unless you go completely ape like you saw in the picture gallery there. But yeah, that's pretty much it on this accessory. I don't see any way to change the batteries. No screw holes or battery covers or anything. So in the event your battery goes dead, you're probably out of luck. I would not suggest opening this because I don't know if you can tell on screen, this is gold plastic, and I would imagine it's likely subject to the same gold plastic syndrome as we've seen before, most notably with like the MicroMaster combiner. I believe it was bristleback, as well as one of the G2 laser rods and a few other figures over the years. MicroMaster Superior, I remember, had that trouble with his pegs. But the gold plastic is known to break easily, so be careful if you do go trying to pry it apart just to change one battery. Also, he comes with the power sword, as is his trademark weapon. This accessory is molded in a soft plastic, unlike the older figures, like with the Auto Morphin. They were a more rigid plastic, and so they were easily broken. This, however, I believe is going to be around for a very long time. Notice, though, it does not have any sort of peg or hole. The weapons on these Rangers here do not combine into the Power Blaster in any way, so far as I've seen. If there is some sort of way, I don't know how they're going to do it. But I'll cover that later on in a different review. He also comes with, and I believe this is standard on all the Rangers, the Power Blaster, or not the Power Blaster, I apologize, the Blade Blaster, which is mounted on the hip using a peg that is molded onto the side here. The details on this and the sword are really quite good. If I can keep it in the frame here. Doesn't look too bad at all, really. And for the size, that's pretty impressive, I guess. And that peg hooks into the left hip here. From what I could tell through the packaging at the store, all the Rangers seem to have this. Also, they seem to have some information printed on their backsides. 12/9/09. I don't know if that was supposed to be a release date or if that's something exclusive to this wave or what that necessarily means. It could just be a serial number. It's hard to say. Then also you've got your copyright information, you know, from like made in China and stuff on the lower back here. You can't really see that too well. That is kind of distracting. You may want to take some rubbing alcohol and try to see if you can get that off. That's if you want to go, you know, swabbing our Power Rangers, but I can't really say whether you would want to do that or not. That's if that floats your boat and toots your flute, that's up to you. The detail is actually not bad. He's got lots of articulation. Not as much as some of the figures in the past, as I've come to understand through different threads on the boards. But he does have some decent articulation. The boots and gloves all rotate 360 degrees around. You have the elbows that bend, the lateral and rotational movement in the shoulders. If I can get my hands out of the way here. 360 degrees all the way around. Same type of connectivity with the legs. One thing I think takes away from it, though, is the black hinges. I don't know, I think that's probably a universal joint, so like the yellow and pink Rangers and stuff would have those black ones as well. Probably cheaper than having their own individual colored plastic. And the helmet is a pretty good detail too. They've painted the eyes. It's just, I think it's just really well done all the way around. I would recommend this line, if nothing else, for display purposes, because they're really well done, and they're gender correct, unlike the Auto Morphin from years back. You know, Pink Ranger has a skirt. You know, they really tried this time around, I think. I'll have more video reviews coming to you very soon. The next one coming up will be the Blue Ranger. Look for that probably within the next several hours. Thank y'all. Bye.